Yo, a load of information, yo.
Yeah.
Remember what I was telling all of you about these puppeteers, these puppet masters controlling the industries, corporations, music business, Hollywood, the whole game, the movie industry. Look who's been running the stuff. Look at the accusations of the people at the top of the businesses. Child molestation, rapists, all of these things. You know what I'm saying? Look at all of these people throwing up the same signs, using the same codes. Pay attention to these things. And I talk about it all the time because, I'm in the music business, so I had to figure out why when we make independent music, it doesn't get a chance to get charted.
Order. And as always, provoking thought.
I hate the way they portray us in the media. If you see a black family, it says they're looting. See a white family, it says they're looking for food. And those are my people down there. So anybody out there that wants to do anything that we can help with the setup, the way America is set up to help the poor, the black people, the less well off as slow as possible. George Bush doesn't care about black people.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard, you liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Black people in this area of the world, we can say that there's no such thing as black culture. What there is what the system of racism, white supremacy, programs black people to do. You see, in other words, if the system of racism, white supremacy says, you are not going to be scientists. You are not going to respect sex. You are not going to be highly functioning doctors and lawyers and teachers. You are not going to have stable family life. Now your role is to entertain me. So you can jump up and down and sing. You can dance. I'm not going to allow you to have stable communities. Because if you have a Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm going to burn that down. And yes, you're good at sports. You can do that in some venues.
I've never heard anyone say, why are all those black dudes in the NBA? Because they're better at dunking, just like Jews are better at whatever joke my Jew writers come up with.
The suits from the record company just got here.
Oh, okay. Scared?
Culture, because that's who always ran Hollywood and the media, and that's the images that they put out. So you remember those movies back in the 70s when them cats was jive, all the over exaggerated, that old jive talking and what's that turkey and all. That was their idea of what a black man. They basically wanted to strut like a peacock. When the brothers, I remember years ago, Robert Townsend put out a movie, and he showed that this is what they have to do in Hollywood, where they'll tell them they don't want the intellectual, they want you to play the stereotype.
They want to be cool. They are impressionable. and they have the cash. They are corporate America's $150 billion dream.
Teenagers have a lot of disposable income. They want to go spend their money. And, we're more than happy to make product that they want to go spend it on.
MTV, Madison Avenue, and the dream makers of Hollywood have targeted our teenagers.
They look at the teen market as part of this massive empire that they're colonizing. Teens are like Africa. Teens are like Africa.
My beef was with Lior because I think he's a fake CEO and I think he's fronting on my culture, but he can't front on anybody else. And I'm calling him out publicly and I want him to stop trying to rape my culture. Go make some money with some other people.
I feel that, but why we gotta wait for the CD then?
Because don't you want it real good?
Yeah, but he been gave it to you like 2 years ago.
They have people that their job is to create beef. They have people that their job is to create beef. So that they can monetize it, pause. But they don't let their culture feel it. But they make money from it. And they can't make any money or get any respect in their culture. That's why they're in our culture. It is what it is. It's a perfect example of what they always do to us. They always try to, offer some paper bag of money or whatever it is, whatever selfish agenda, which is the test, and then have us divide so they can benefit and take the fight off of them. Never had a beef with Jay. Always with Lior and his whole crew. He's the one that ruined Rockefeller. I think it's fair to continuously make money off our culture, not make money off your own culture, not use any of your money to help our culture, but use the money you make from us to help your own culture, and then not to give the respect to the people that are the DNA of. Call Kevin Lowndes.
I don't think I've ever seen a Lior Cohen interview.
Exactly. Of course you don't see. Of course you don't see the puppet master. I don't like who he empowers and the way he empowers them. I didn't like when he hired Todd Moskowitz to run Asylum. I didn't think Todd, as a lawyer, knew anything about music. It just seemed like complete nepotism, and he was using other people's money. He got a job because of nepotism. Ask them why they got their jobs. That's what I want to see. How did Joey get the job president of Urban, and what does that mean? I need to see credentials. And I have to worry about being manipulated by somebody that's smiling, pretending that he's with you, but he's robbing you. Because when they rob you, they don't come as an enemy, they come as a friend. But I've been to these Jewish events, and I have nothing against Jewish, where I've seen him make Jay-Z give speeches. And I've been like, well, I don't understand why that doesn't happen in my culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll tell you right now, stay clear of Lior, he will rob you. He will ruin you for the money. And when you're with him, you look like a slave, because that's how he looks at you. Trust me on that.
All right, welcome back. This is Hanukkah Radio, and we have a special guest calling in today, a luminary in our business and a proud Jew, Lior Cohen, ladies and gentlemen.
Clap it up, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Lior,
thank you. I'm so thrilled and honored to be asked to do your radio station, especially on the last day of Hanukkah. L'chaim. Shalom.
We are honored to have you.
How could I help you?
Well, Lior, this one of the things we do here is we don't necessarily get too religious and talk about Hanukkah and what it stands for, although, we have gotten into that in the past, but it's more of a celebration of, Judaism and hip-hop, since we are a hip-hop station, and that's what we do, and your roots are definitely in hip-hop.
Jewish people have always been involved in urban cultural arts, all the way back to the early beginnings of jazz music. It's just something that's always happened.
Right.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing that I was lucky enough to be part of this industry, and it was a blessing that people treated me inside and out with so much respect.
All these records I used to listen to,
Jay-Z.
these guys are the creators of it, the architects of what we do right now. These guys are the creators of it, the architects of what we do right now. I'm just fortunate, man. You want to take this? Yeah, you're right.
The Washington Times sent journalist David Mills to interview Professor Griff. A number of topics were discussed, but when the article was published, all the attention focused on one sentence. Griff reportedly told Mills, "Jews are responsible for the majority of wickedness that goes on across the globe." With the media scrutinizing their every move, it was a PR disaster. The resulting fallout threatened to end Public Enemy's career. It wasn't the first time Griff had brought up contentious issues in the press. The band often discussed ideas about how to regain a consciousness for African Americans. And this often spilled over into the black community's relationship with other ethnic groups. But this quote was indefensible. Did he really say those words, or were they taken out of context?
The way it was kind of put out there was definitely not my sentiment. Never had this hatred for Jewish people. Never had this hatred for white people like they say. I just finished reading The Secret Relationship Between Blacks and Jews, which was given to me by somebody in Public Enemy. This conversation was going on all the time about the control and who owns these companies and why all this group of people always doing this and controlling that and having this kind of influence. And that talk went on all the time, every day. And that bit of information that I put in that particular interview with David Mills was given to me by somebody in the group. But why am I taking the heat for it?
Whether Griff's words were reported correctly or not, the resulting media storm required swift action from the band's leader, Chuck D.
I remember being around at that time, and how tough that decision was for Chuck. It was difficult. I mean, think about it. They were the biggest rap group and one of the biggest pop groups in the world at that time. They had to kick him out. And you're told you got to get rid of one of your best friends out of the band because of his anti-Semitism. Can't speak out.
Men will be men. Let's just, it'll wash away. Did not wash away.
Def Jam's publicist Bill Adler refused to work with the group, and criticism from the world's media continued to build. Public Enemy's mission to change the consciousness of a generation was about to be wrecked by one interview. Chuck had to act to save his group. He released a statement, apologized, and sacked Griff.
Did I get thrown under the bus by organizations, by people in the group? Yeah, I did. Did it have to happen that way? No.
So Griff started to do an interview with David Mills, a black guy, and they're talking about, he brings up the issue of what's going on based on the Israel-Palestine thing, and they start talking about these areas of conflict, but also what had happened in the music business and how black people are still kind of ass down, and how also other people and also Jewish people happen to be running the music business. And what's up with the equitable shake here and the emergence of even hip-hop? Where's the equality here? Well, David Mills they got into some good discussion that took a wrong path, especially when David Mills' girlfriend, who was white and Jewish, came into the room, and she started that was his girlfriend. Yeah. And then so when I came back to the hotel, I saw Griff come out of the elevator I got into it with this dude. I don't know if you would be having. I said, man, I'm tired. You go to bed. It wasn't until Spike Lee started getting some pressure. Spike Lee said, yo, man, they're going to pull this movie. Or they could have been calling this bluff. All this stuff about Public Enemy.
Talking about Do the Right Thing.
You Do the Right Thing, which was out in July 1989 to this day. It's yo, man, I'm getting a lot of pressure from these people at Universal about Public Enemy.
Voice of the sentient voice against the arms of the government. Artists getting robbed for they publishing by dirty Jewish execs who think that it's arms from the covenant. I retire when I'm tired.
He responded by defending his choice of words before eventually saying that he was going to call it quits due to the backlash regarding his choice of words. He tweeted, "I get the hint, God. You Lupe fans, it's been fun and I hope you've had fun. I'm officially not releasing any more music. Album's canceled. Getting beat up for telling the truth is not how I plan on spending the rest of my life." On Wednesday, Lupe returned to Twitter and once again caused a stir when he decided to call out a couple of record executives for wronging him early on in his career. He started things off by accusing former Warner Music Group CEO Leor Cohen of refusing to honor one of the first contracts he signed when he agreed to become a part of Atlantic Records prior to the release of his debut album, Food and Liquor. Leor Cohen told me he may not honor the terms of an existing contract unless I signed a contract which changed the terms of the existing one. Fiasco then continued by accusing Atlantic Records CEO Craig Cowman of negotiating a deal that stripped him of his publishing rights to his hit song Airplanes, a song that ultimately ended up becoming a hit for rapper B.O.B. Wow. He wrote, "Craig Cowman once negotiated a deal in secret which said I agreed to give away 85% of my publishing rights to the song Airplanes to his producers." He also accused Cowman of trying to convince him to sign an unfavorable 360 deal. "Craig Cowman brought me my 360 deal while I was half naked recovering from pneumonia in a hotel room in LA. It was surreal." And Lupe didn't stop there. He fielded questions from fans about his early experiences with Atlantic and explained why he wasn't able to get out of his contract. He blamed it on the Jewish lawyer he hired and accused him of trying to steal money from him. "The Jewish lawyer I hired to get me off Atlantic was more interested in taking 5% of everything I did. He sent a bill for $100,000, which represented 5% of the concerts I did while I had him on retainer, concerts which he never handled contracts for. He said, 'What are you gonna do? Sue me? I'm a lawyer, I'll win.' He then felt so guilty he offered me 10% of my own money back." Lupe ended his Twitter spree by circling back to the controversy that his comments on NERD caused and defended them for a final time. He tweeted, "I don't tolerate real anti-Semitism, but I will not stand by as injustices based on a doctrine of chosen and divine rights are perpetuated." As of this report, neither Cohen or Cowman have responded to the accusations leveled by Lupe, and his Twitter account has been locked and made private. It's still yet to be seen if he'll stick with his plan.
The ratio of gangbangers to civilians was minuscule in the early 70s and early 80s, late 70s, early 80s, okay? Right after NWA, now I've been in the club business all this time, and I stopped making records. Went back to my second career, which was nightclub owner. What happened was NWA and rap, or gangster rap, made gangster lifestyle cool. So the ratio started to change. Everybody was a gangbanger. It used to be 5% gangbanger. Everybody became a gangbanger. So now you got 95% gangsters, or 90% gangsters, and 10% civilians. And when that happened, everything went crazy because now theaters, clubs, parking lots, the park, everything is a war zone.
I believe in the Constitution. I believe in the First Amendment. And there is nothing that Ruthless or any other company like us does that we shouldn't be doing.
Ruthless Records was one of the first labels devoted to gangster rap and was the home of NWA, whose success was made possible by the label's independence.
When I heard Boys in the Hood, I just felt it was the most important music that I had heard in many, many years, since the beginning of rock and roll.
Jerry Heller had spent his career representing pop groups like Styx and Journey, but he was fascinated by NWA's foul-mouthed street sensibility. Convinced he had found a diamond in the rough, Heller says he left his other clients and helped Eazy-E start up a label they called Ruthless Records.
Nobody that I took the records to for the first 9 or 10 months ever thought that this would get any airplay.
Ultimately, Heller persuaded Priority Records to distribute NWA's first LP, Straight Outta Compton.
And was Jerry Heller involved at that point also?
Yes, he was.
Okay,
but what a lot of people don't know is like we came in a transition point of Ruthless Records because Eazy-E had fired Jerry Heller, you know, and he started bringing all new people in, you know, and this is right before he got sick and passed away. He had fired Jerry Heller and he brought all new people in to run his company because I guess he found out it was some underhanded, shady business going on up under his nose that he didn't know about. We were even there, the same secretary that had Eazy call us back. We went to the office one day to pick up some money, and you know, she was like, "Y'all, y'all wait right here because Jerry is not so happy in the office right now. You know, and he was like, she was like, y'all just wait right here because you know Easy just fired him.
Right.
And we was like, damn. So yeah, oh yeah, it was going down. It was
Allegedly died of AIDS.
Well, no, he did. I think
he
that's
died of AIDS.
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Allegedly.
You think it was something else?
This might be alleged.
Yeah.
The way he picked, but I ain't getting into that right now, Jay.
Oh.
I got my own theories. You know what I mean?
Me too.
But
What? I've never heard these theories before. I thought it was just
I mean, it was crazy though because we was hearing like these
it happened kind of fast. Didn't it?
I was kind of thinking like, who doctors did he go to? I think it was Jerry Heller's doctors that he went to, and he had just got fired. So I'm like, I don't know, but this don't even look
conspiracy.
You know
and then it's like you know, like you could, you know, we all seen people with full blown AIDS, and when they're about to die, you know, they look like they have it and they're about to die. Now you can have HIV and you can still look healthy. You know what I'm saying? But,
and you don't even know you have it.
Right. Dude had full blown AIDS and he looked like he
regular.
He was like still had his weight, still cocky, still looking like a regular dude, and it just came about all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, he was wrestling with Big Wish. You know what I'm saying? Like going at it with Big Wish. So the dude was strong, cocky, man, really built like a little tank. You know what I mean? So you know, it's just theories. You know.
Did
what I
you
mean?
read Jerry Heller's biography that he wrote, or autobiography?
The game is designed for them to win. You think I'm lying? Here's the pen. They already got a number reserved for your ass. Don't be a fool and join their class. They want you to enroll in their institution so they can pimp you with their new form of prostitution.
Respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry that would become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. I remember many of us in the group immediately looked at each other in confusion. At the time, I did not know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with us. We were told that the prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more money the government would pay these prisons. It was made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they are publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employers had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now their interest to make sure these prisons remained filled. Our job was to help make this happen by marketing music which promotes criminal behavior, rap music being of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd be able to buy personal stocks in these prisons. Immediate silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure that I wasn't dreaming and saw half the people with dropped jaws.
And then, of course, the 90s came in, and there was too much consciousness going on in hip-hop at that time for the powers that be. And there was too much consciousness going on in hip-hop at that time for the powers that be.
We all agree tonight, all of the speakers have agreed that America has a very serious problem. Not only does America have a very serious problem, but our people have a very serious problem. America's problem is self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction. Self-destruction. You're headed for self-destruction.
Well, today's topic, self-destruction. It really ain't the rap audience that's bugging. It's one or two suckers, ignorant brothers, trying to rob and steal from one another. You get caught in the mid. So to crush that stereotype, here's what we did. We got ourselves together so that you could unite and fight for what's right, not negative cause. The way we live is positive. We don't kill our relatives.
Pop, 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 when it's shot, who's to blame? Headlines, front page, and raps the name. MC Delight here to state the bottom line. The black on black crime was way before our time.
Took a brother's life with a knife as his wife cried, cause he died of trifling death when he left his very last breath. Was I slept, so watch your step. Back in the 60s, our brothers and sisters were hanged. How could you gangbang? I never ever ran from the Ku Klux Klan, and I shouldn't have to run from a black man, cause that's self-destruction. Yeah, it was self-destruction.
So here comes gangster rap. All right. Take off the medallions, you know what I mean? Stop all that peace and unity, and let's do some hoes and cocaine and gangbang. At a time, if you were a conscious rapper, you couldn't even get a record deal anymore because hip-hop wasn't going that way no more. And that's directly from that gangster rap era, that gangster rap mentality, and the people who were in charge of hip-hop at that time. They totally deaded the cultural side of hip-hop. I mean, everything De La Soul, done. Tribe Called Quest, done. I mean, all that, done.
So 1, 2, 1, most people didn't know me. Not a striker, I defend like a goalie. No silver spoon, I was raised like Mowgli. I was the one that made the junior don't know me. Blessed with the gift that was given by the holy. Back with revenge, call me Shinobi. Best you repent before my bars kill you slowly. Catch your breath, me, I'm a beast on the track, so forget the rest. Just a freestyle wall, boom blazes on the zest. Keeping it old school like a Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe Called Quest, done. I mean, all that, done. I mean, yeah, it's still stuck around, it permeated, but they changed the whole landscape of the entire music. NWA, I thought they were great for what they were doing, but I thought they was a definite detriment to our people, the message they were giving out. I know them, I'm familiar with them. We had a club out in LA, Zulu Nation had a club, West Coast, Eazy-E's to come in, Ice Cube, all them cats used to be around. And then we all cool, it's all peace and love. But I'm saying, it's not even the artists so much, it's the music industry itself that kind of drove that ship. And they just recruited people to do what they needed to do. It was a different conversation than I'ma shoot you in your face. It was a different conversation than I got 5 bad kilos of this and that and this and that. Any nigga, I'm shooting your kneecaps off. I'm shooting your daughter in the calf muscle. It wasn't that kind of conversation. Right. It was like, hey, I'm good too. I'm strapped too. Yeah. You know what I mean? You got yours, I got mine too. Ain't nobody running over nobody here. Right. That was his conversation. But later on it became, yo, I'm gonna shoot this nigga and kill police and all that. It wasn't that extreme.
So that bothered you?
Okay, yeah, that bothered me, definitely. I knew it wasn't good for hip hop. You know what I mean? It might be good for rap music. You know, crack was out back then, and they were trying to sell more crack. So they used the music industry to help do that too, and to permeate that throughout our society and our culture.
I feel like we losing it. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the people that are in control of what hip hop does is so white and so Jewish until they don't give a about what the culture and the craft and what it really is about. I don't know if the punks that's running these record labels, you know, that's in the powerful positions to dictate what the black community hears and listens to.
What it must feel like that now, you being Jewish, that, you know, once again, like Jewish guys run rap with Drake being on top right now, you come in. What does that feel like? You know, the Jewish guy is leading the rap game. First it was the business mechanics of it all. Now, now it's actually the creativity too. Now
I'm certainly not mad at it.
Yeah.
More power to the Jews. Like I enjoy
even more power.
I enjoy success. Like
You can tell me is that it's not a conspiracy against the blacks in hip hop, because you put out records that make us look stupid. You make us look dumb. You brainwash a generation. You brainwash a generation of hip hop was with this. And then when these other rappers come out, splitting it down the middle, these other rappers cheeks sound like, wow, y'all are great. Y'all look stupid. Y'all look great. Y'all look stupid. Y'all look great.
Many wonder why black artists, music execs don't go fully independent and form their own distribution companies. Some have tried to form their own unions and have paid the price for having the nerve to go against the power structure.
You understand what I'm saying? Yes, sir. We have to look at Damon Dash. We have to look at Suge Knight. We have to look at Irv Gotti. And we have to look at Jay Prince. These four gentlemen that got together and was going to put up $30 million a piece to get and create their own distribution company to distribute black music. These people got together and said, we'll never let it happen. It'll happen over our dead bodies. All in 1 week, I'm telling you the short version of the story. All in 1 week, they raided the offices of these four brothers. I'm gonna say them again. Damon Dash, Suge Knight, Irv Gotti, and Jay Prince out of Texas. The FBI raided their offices and confiscated their records and started piecing together cases against these brothers. Suge Knight, you already know his story.
Yeah.
You understand? Went through some court cases, ends up having a white Jewish woman, the owner now of everything that Death Row had put out. And I think she bought it for $22 million. No, $25 million. Ain't that something?
25.
She owns the entire catalog. I'm gonna have to get this woman's name so I can put it in my records. Irv Gotti, him and his brother was brought up on charges, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Several years ago. And his thing was publicized because they raided his offices and tried to connect him to some mob ties and some drug dealing and that kind of thing.
At the time, Doug Morris was the chief.
Okay,
he was the boss of Universal.
Mhm.
The boss of bosses, Doug Morris. He's flying Irv and myself out every other week to L.A. Leo didn't treat us the right way.
Okay.
You know, and that was our guy. So they had Jimmy. We had Leo.
Yeah.
Nah, Leo had a big poster with 50 Cent in his office.
Wow.
That was the day. Listen to me.
Wait.
This is something no one understands. This is real. You're getting stuff that we never spoke about.
We getting facts right here.
Me and
people.
Irv walk in his office. We have a meeting. So on his wall, it's got to be bigger than this. He has a picture of him and 50. He's hugging 50, and he's giving the finger.
Wow.
And he tells us to turn around and look.
Oh, no, he didn't point the picture out. Like you could already see it.
He said, did you see that? He said, did you see my picture?
And Tommy Mottola is a devil.
And the now unreleased recordings of Michael Jackson. The King of Pop is said to have left behind a mountain of material. Music executive Tommy Mottola, who worked closely with Jackson at Sony Records for 15 years, considers himself the gatekeeper of Jackson's catalog. Tommy, good morning. It's good to see you.
Good morning, man.
He was in Brazil to shoot the music video for his song, They Don't Care About Us. Last year, he angered Jewish groups when he sang these words. Michael then gave in to pressure and changed the song. But in Brazil, the controversial lyrics were back, and he sang it this way. We showed footage of the video shoot to Rabbi Marvin Heyer, an activist for Jewish causes, who was outraged because last June, Jackson sent him a letter of apology for singing those lyrics.
I'm shocked. Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me. Those are the words that he told us that he would never use again.
But when I say Jew me, sue me, everybody do me, kick me, kike me, don't you black or white me, I'm talking about myself as the victim. I'm talking about myself as the victim.
I was so tired of, they start out
people have always been involved in urban cultural arts all the way back to the early beginnings of jazz music. It's just something that's always happened.
Right.
It's a blessing. It's a blessing.
The thing that makes Judaism dangerous to everybody, to every race, to every nation, to every idea, is that we smash things that aren't true. We don't believe in the boundaries of nation state. We don't believe in the ideas of these individual gods that protect individual groups of people. These are all artificial constructions, and Judaism really teaches us how to see that. In a sense, our detractors have us right, in that we are a corrosive force. We're breaking down the false gods of all nations and all people because they're not real. And that's very upsetting to people.
My mother is Jewish, so according to Jewish law, I'm Jewish, matrilineally speaking. That's their rules. One of the other...
I'm telling you, I own the central banks every day. I don't know what
We do! We do run everything. Facts can't be racist, you know? Jews do, like, are vastly overrepresented in the media, vastly overrepresented in banking.
You say you're seeing all this stuff bubble up on social media. Well, let me take the ultimate example, what remains the big taboo in society, which is anti-Semitism, right? Most of the Generation Trump, the alt-right people, the people who are like me, they're not anti-Semites. They don't care about Jews. They may have some assumptions about Jews. They may have some prejudice about Jews, like the Jews run everything. Well, we do. The Jews run all the banks. Well, we do. The Jews run the media. Well, we do. You know, I mean, they're right about all that stuff. Now, what you do with that is the issue. But the reason they go on about...
I don't even know where to start with that, so just go.
We do. It's a fact. This is not in debate. It's a statistical fact. You know, Jews run most of the banks. Jews completely dominate the media, vastly disproportionately represented in all of these professions. That's just a fact. It's not anti-Semitic to point out statistics. I'm suggesting to you, it's not anti-Semitic to point out that these things are true.
Firestorm. What happened? What was the reaction?
The reaction was that people said this was outrageous. I found it stunningly offensive, Soledad. First of all, Jewish-owned press, the old anti-Semitic stereotype about Jews controlling the media, and then saying anti-Israel, Merrick's very pro-Israel. And somebody needs to keep this guy away from the Twitter.
Where he talks about the Jewish-owned media. Because as you said, that's like, you know, come on, give us something that's not 100 years or thousands of years old and just flat wrong. But just to sort of lay out the elephant in the room.
And the system, meaning the record companies, totally took advantage of it. But this is very important, what we're fighting for. Because I'm tired, I'm really, really tired of the manipulation. I'm tired of how the press is manipulating everything that's been happening in this situation. They do not tell the truth, they're liars. They manipulate our history books. The history books are not true. It's a lie. The history books are lying. You need to know that. You must know that. All the forms of popular music, from jazz to hip hop to bebop to soul, you know, to you talk about the different dances, from the cakewalk to the jitterbug to the Charleston to break dancing. All these are forms of black dancing. The minute it became the all-time best-selling albums in history in the Guinness Book of World Records, overnight they called me a freak. They called me a homosexual. They called me a child molester. They said I tried to bleach my skin. They made everything to turn the public against me. This is all complete conspiracy. You have to know that. You know, it's time. I love you more. It's time for a change. And let's not leave this building and forget what has been said. Put it into your heart. Put it into your subconscious mind. And let's do something about it.
Now on to one of our other big stories. The king of pop has died. Michael Jackson, the pop music and dance innovator, passed away yesterday. Jackson appeared to have suffered from cardiac arrest. He was 50 years old.
So as many of you have heard by now, Prince has recently died.
The former music icon has recently died, but his death is very suspicious. It has the words suspicion written all over it. Not only that, but it also has the words occult written all over it. But the interesting thing that takes it also further is that before he died, he gave one last tweet on Twitter. The last tweet that he put out on Twitter, which is now being removed by Twitter, he put the following. He tweeted saying, "Just when you thought you were safe," and ... Which means, just when you thought you were safe, that gives the impression you are not safe. Now, just as it is with most celebrity deaths, who knows, maybe they're going to come and say that he died of drug overdose. But we know better than that. We know that it's difficult to trust the mainstream media that we are being given, the information being given to us by the mainstream media. Exactly why this person died, we don't know the real truth. We're just going to take their words for it. However, based on what Prince is tweeting here, and from the suspicions that he's been basically portraying to the world, there's something fishy here, and we really can't trust what we are being presented with by the mainstream media.
No, we are trying to get ourselves to the point where we can establish what we would then call black culture. But we will no longer be victims of a system of racism, white supremacy. So once the system of racism, white supremacy has been replaced with a system of justice, that's when we will start talking about our culture. That's when we will begin talking about who we really are as black people.
Who are you? You don't know. Don't tell me Negro, that's nothing. What were you before the white man named you a Negro? And where were you? And what did you have? What was yours? What language did you speak then? What was your name? It couldn't have been Smith or Jones or Bunch or Powell. That wasn't your name. They don't have those kind of names where you and I came from. No, what was your name? And why don't you now know what your name was then? Where did it go? Where did you lose it? Who took it? And how did he take it? What tongue did you speak? How did the man take your tongue? Where is your history? How did the man wipe out your history? What did the man do to make you as dumb as you are right now?
Pilate said to them, "Shall I crucify your king?" The chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." Then he delivered him to them to be crucified. So they took Yahshua and led him away. These statements made by the Jews really showed how far Israel strayed away from Elohim. First they said his blood was on their hands and on the hand of their children. And when Pilate said, "Shall I crucify your king?" the chief priests answered, "We have no king but Caesar." They proclaimed a heathen Gentile emperor over the king that the Most High sent for them. This is bad news. They laid hold of a certain man, Simon, a Cyrenian, who was coming from the country, and on him they laid the cross that he might bear it after Yahshua. And a great multitude of the people followed him, and the women who also mourned and lamented him. But Yahshua, turning to them, said, "Daughters of Jerusalem, do not weep for me, but weep for yourselves and for your children. For indeed the days are coming, in which they will say, Blessed are the barren, wombs that never bore, and breasts which never nursed. Then they will begin to say to the mountains, Fall on us, and to the hills, Cover us. For if they do these things in the greenwood, what will be done in the dry?"
All right, now we know in the Mishnah, so written somewhere in a little after 200 of the Common Era, so traditions going back further than that, it's talking about the Jewish people in terms of their color. How are we described?
Right, so Rabbi Yehuda Nasi wrote the Mishnah.
He was a direct descendant from the house of King David, and he was in charge of the passing on the law of the generation. Now, to have written down the oral law was forbidden for the Israelites. It was oral, meant to be taught father to son. He saw that we are already scattered around the whole world, and if we don't preserve this, we're going to lose it. So he chose to write it down, and it was called the Mishnah. In the Mishnah, he was speaking about the skin afflictions that happened to people in the times of the temple, and when he's speaking about the color of the skin, he references and says that the children of Israel were not white, and they were not black. They were boxwood. That's the word it was used. Perhaps like the color of the table we're sitting at. And, you have to imagine he was saying the children of Israel. I think he was speaking about in past tense of who they were. At the time already that he was alive, you had great, Roman converts who became Torah scholars. Rabbi Akiva's father was a convert. Rabbi Akiva was one of the greatest sages ever. You had Onkelos, you had Shemaiah and Avtalion. These were masters on the Torah chain who were converts from Rome. On the Torah chain who were converts from Rome. So obviously there was
Yeah, big up everyone. You don't know me, I said respect and love. G-Terra checking in. I said that was a serious piece of video and a whole lot of good information to decipher and kind of look what's going on, so you could, open up them other eyes, not just the eyes on the face. You could open up the mental, the meditation eyes. You know what I'm saying? So you could see further what's going on in this world. Big up to big up and shout out to Thoughts Camera Action. Boop, boop, boop. Shout out, subscribe to Thoughts Camera Action. Give them the support. I'm gonna drop a link in description. This middle finger is not for subscribers, fans, nor supporters, but for the evil people who intend to control all of the people's business in the world and control the minds of the youth and all the people out here who are just trying to do things to be great and be themselves. NOSKOOLIN.